I am ready. I am thoroughly ready for Friday to begin. And I want to point out that all of you have had a draining evening and have been actually pretty busy in the evenings quite a bit. So let's try to recall that all your characters, and this includes Mur too, because Mur has no special abilities to prevent this, and we can always make up a mechanical equivalent for being tired. So
batteries drained.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's just like sleep, different kind of sleep,
exactly.
Like need to recharge.
We can always draw it however we want, but that's the effect. Perfect. Well, I would like to know a little bit about your mornings in this case. It is Friday, the last day of the work week.
Mur would be going through like whatever project is ongoing, like just whatever like needs to be tied back into like to check in on all like little side things, be in contact with probably even call his contact from his old union contact, because he was in talk with her about getting the draft on like checking back in on that kind of stuff. And like once he has done that kind of check-in, he would start up on his project of, let's see if I can finally get some time over to work on this fire source.
I think you can probably put some hours into that this morning at least.
Yes, but he would devote some time. Like now, like we dealt with Wardle sort of yesterday. The immediate issue has been calmed down, hopefully. So he's gonna take the time to actually just like check in on other stuff, and then like, okay, if everything's well, he will devote time to his project.
It's better than you think, because insofar as you had to report anything to the police over the course of the day, you'll find that all of their concerns have been concluded. You get a whole bunch of sort of, this is over, this is resolved, thank you for your help, a whole lot of different messages from different aspects of the police that all have nothing, I mean, basically make life a lot easier for you. All these bullshit kind of investigations they were doing, where it didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. When somebody checked all this stuff this morning for each thing, they realized, or probably to their surprise, why on earth were we doing this? This is resolved. Done. So that particular set of irritations seems to be over. That makes your life a lot easier at this point.
Excellent.
And so I think some time on the canister is fine. Let's throw in a few hours for that. I'll conclude with how many hours you'll get after we get through the day.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like, because he would be essentially be prepared for like work on it whenever he has the time, and like if something needs his attention, he will deal with that because it's Friday before the weekend.
Right.
And like if whatever side projects or collaborative works, he wants to make sure that the people he's working with, like, okay, we're on the same page for the week, for next week. Exactly. Have a good weekend, and just don't bother them.
Mm-hmm. I think that gives us a good portrait of Mur. Actually, I like it. Aelin, I'll be coming to you in just a moment, because your situation is personal and heartbreaking, and all sorts of intense. So for the non-intense, relaxed member of the team, Silverlanson,
She's actually interested in going into work to check up, did Wardell actually tell the truth? Like, how quickly does this effect like subside, like in the department? Can she spot a difference? So she's a bit careful, and of course, very very tired naturally, but nothing, enough caffeine, enough coffee can solve everything.
You are informed by friends and colleagues that drinking all that coffee when you don't feel good is not going to have a long-term benefit effect, which kind of lets you know that you're showing it, right?
So, what do they know? 9 cups a day is completely normal.
And the I think at some point or another, the UN Santiago and a couple of the other people that you had been doing the side investigation with, they've actually come up with some very useful things, but they're also a little bit surprised because the blocking and the weird behavior seems to be much less. So I think just making this up, I think maybe if one of them was careless and had let slip that they were working on this, but instead of it being a problem, they're commended and, their work is officially picked up and scrutinized professionally. So,
yeah.
So there's definite positive indicators at work.
Yeah. And I don't think Nina would appreciate, ratting out her superiors, but she perhaps could introduce it to internal affairs or the equivalent they have, that sort of processes inside these, just to see it's like properly handled, throwing anyone under the bus more than necessary.
Okay, so you're going to report that their behavior was irregular.
Please suggest it. Maybe not. She won't probably not do it herself, but actually, like if she looks at the work and so on, like this is actually, could be relevant if there is like actual cases of this going on in the department.
Well, that
it's
is
a security risk.
Okay, let's see here. So, let me write that down. All right, the only other thing that I have for me proactively to do, is that toward the end of the morning, you'll receive a message from Eric. And he had remembered something, or in going through his notes, found something that he hadn't shared with you. And it is a report from the person at the convenience store at the airport who had interacted briefly with Silverlansen. Remember when you were rescuing that one guy? With the helicopter coming down and everything.
Yeah, with the gas station. Yeah.
Right. And that attendant had seen you throw that javelin. That attendant, being an avid sports fan, recognized the peculiar double step that accompanies track and field javelin throwing. There's it's a skip, right? You actually skip forward, land on your back foot, and throw from there. And that person had reported that Silverlansen, threw like a pro. And so
a very formalized way.
Yeah, exactly.
Be trained pro. Yeah.
I watched a few videos. It's absolutely unmistakable. So, therefore, Eric said, this is significant. I mean, we should be looking into locals who have, a history of, this technique.
Sure, Eric. I mean, I will absolutely include this in my, report. Whatever the foundation for the report, and I will pass that on to the persons who will be conducting this investigation once the material is, compiled and ready.
I have 2 questions. One, do you do that?
Well, when she actually compiles the entire report, she might be a bit, creative with the facts during certain, details. age bracket and sort of making statements that are like not actual facts but actually like they work off the facts, deductions from.
Well, this is the first
like
time I've
certain
heard that you were
deduction.
going to be less than honest with this report, so we'll just remember
Oh, well.
this, and then
Oh well, it's just she's being completely honest, but she's maybe not reporting the objective
you just
truth.
openly said
It's
you
just-
weren't. But okay, I won't argue.
She is doing like she's deducting things that are completely reasonable within the facts, but obviously aren't true.
Asterisk, asterisk. Okay. The other question I have concerns how much coffee you may have spit upon seeing that message.
Oh, might have been you don't have to roll for did she have coffee in her mouth when she read?
Right.
Maybe a bit.
Yes,
possible.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think the other thing she will actually do, probably after work, is actually she's going to train her mental force, of all things.
Good plan.
Because she doesn't, she doesn't use that enough anyway.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Now, on to questions for Kevin. Kevin's morning and plans.
Kevin is hiding away from everything. I think he's working a little from home to like keep himself busy. But other than that, I think he's got the emotional. He's emotionally hungover.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Kevin is staying at home, not showing himself outside at all.
Wow. Okay. Does this include digital communications?
I think it would have to be. He will definitely think an extra time before answering something. Is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a very neutral kind of a question. Well, how would this be phrased? First, just for work purposes, there's a little agenda that arrives for you of all the things that Kevin is sort of expected to be doing this week, sort of update, task manager. You may or may not get those regularly. It's not a bad sign that they send it to you. In other words, they're not like implying that you're screwing off, but it is sort of a just checking in to make sure you're working for us. Sort of a message. Oh, by the way, here are the things that are very important this week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And then the similar or similarly neutral looking message comes from Teresa. And it says something like, I'm thinking of you as a text with a little emoticon that, at least to my eyes, is completely uninterpretable.
Is it like
it's sort of a smile, but kind of a sad, hopeful, kind of confused, or I don't know what it's supposed to mean. I mean, it's one of those multi-emotion emoticons that's like, very difficult to.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin will know what it means either. I think emojis must stress him out.
I can relate to that very, very definitely.
I definitely think he will avoid it for quite like at least 1.5 hours.
Ooh,
Just
that's
looking at it. Yeah, like no, I can't.
Yeah.
Wait, trying to think of something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that leaves us looking at your. Are you going to be working with any of your equipment at all?
I could do some. Go to my lab thing place if I have the energy and work a little on my plane, maybe.
Given everything we're
Keeping
talking
myself
about,
busy.
probably 2 or 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we'll get 6 hours in the canister invention for Mur.
All right.
And then, okay, so that kind of catches all of us up. But I didn't hear anybody talking about acting on the deal you made with Vordal regarding taking steps against the criminal network.
Now that you mention it,
Yeah, that's
because I think last session in my notes there is a civic action against the network, daring them to act against these.
Believe me, I have a couple of rolls to make in my next list, right here for that very thing.
Because yeah, when you said that last time, I was thinking, oh well, obviously I think Sylvanas would probably like try to guard them and keep them safe or whatever, like keep tabs on things.
So that would
just
be in
make
the
sure
evening after work, correct?
Of course. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Late evening is on.
The only problem with that, of course, is that your fatigue is really catching up with you. So you will have to make an endurance check to see if you can make it.
No problem.
No problem, he says. Is Karma going to help with that?
No.
Okay.
Let's just immediately or
yes, let's do that.
No. Let's see. Bring up these papers here. Endurance 4. Let's roll. 12. Oh.
That seems unlikely.
On yeah, no, it's a white result, obviously.
Right. I think you're going to fail out. You're just not going to be able to make it. So, here, I'm going to do a couple of checks of my own, because these are sort of over the course of the day. Let's see here. Excellent.
Mur would probably like come to that realization of like, oh, we need to deal with this as well. He's gonna actually stop working on his device as he realizes cut that down to half time, so only 3 hours.
Okay.
And he's gonna start working on contingencies. So like, if we get this big drug gang trying to step back into town, he's gonna try and be prepared to deal with that. Like, dust off his old files on how he handled motorcycle gangs, and have a look at like see if he can come up with a plan to implement that, as it is like they are not. They work in somewhat similar ways, given that they are like strong groups.
They're socially embedded, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so socially embedded, but like they also have like not afraid to use force to accomplish their less than legal business dealings.
I see.
What was the deal with Vordal? Did she promise to, because she had some kind of influence over the gang, right?
Well, she was going to remove all of her influence from Nordstopping. She was going to have only her influence in Linköping and about things that she cared about. She wanted to scale back. And
Yeah.
what she wanted was no interference from you about that. In fact, I don't think she wants to see, like, I think you should probably avoid the major roads around Linköping.
Yeah.
But as far as influence in Norrköping is concerned, she's not doing anything. She just said, that's your problem, but I don't want you deal with that network, deal with that gang, because
Yeah.
I do not want anything else. It's too close to me. I don't want it.
So if she just lifted her influence over them, then we probably have an advantage before they catch up again, maybe. If there's been some.
That's a good inference. Yes.
Yeah, and we know that her primary influencee in the gang was
Lund.
Yeah, totally not kidnapped and traumatized person.
Yeah.
I have just made some rolls about this very issue. And the first is that a rather sensible set of arrests were supposed to be made last week, but they weren't. Instead, wasting the police time with all of that counterproductive activity. And somebody caught up to those today. And by the end of the day, it took a little while to iron out what was going on. But somebody finally activated those warrants. Now, unfortunately, the people that were targeted have ghosted, or someone else seems to be where they were expected to be. And so apparently, this network managed to avoid police activity today. So kind of both of them kind of struggled back online. If the network is operating the way you're seeing the police operating, yes, they're badly off balance, but the dice went their way on that particular thing. By contrast, the dice did not go their way when it came to dealing with the public. Any effort they made to reestablish some kind of dominance over the general society, the people of Norrköping who were vulnerable to them, fails badly. And at least one person is brought to the police station with one arm twisted up behind their back and 5 people making sure they get there safely. And several other instances of civic action guarding specific businesses or specific families. Some of this is paralegal, right? Some of this involves, breaking into somebody's flat and dragging them out and taking them to the police station saying, you're screwed, asshole. They've got you in their files and we are going to back them up. Or things like, I do not think that on paper, loitering on a street corner in front of a business armed with pipes and other practical weaponry, I don't really think that Swedish law enforcement really approves of this kind of behavior. So these are fairly extreme or relatively extreme actions, and they're very forceful, but they're obviously very targeted against the operation of this network. There's at least one person. There's a controversy in one of the sort of after-school centers among the staff, and some of the staff have called out the other part of the staff as being embedded in the network. And so right now, there's a volunteers are basically setting up watch on those people and letting them know, we are watching you. So when I say volunteers, I just mean like regular people. So as you can see, things are getting a little self-policing. Wouldn't be surprised if a couple of the religious groups, in religion terms, the neighborhood I'm thinking of is extremely diverse. And so, I mean, with versions of Christianity that most of us don't even know how to spell. So, therefore, among others. So the point is though some of these churches or mosques or whatever's are serving as information networks for this kind of community activity. So while that's very effective, it may violate certain political standards in Sweden of what churches and so forth are allowed to do. I'm just letting you know that this is getting like textbook complicated right now in Norrköping. So yes, the network has failed its popularity attempt to keep the neighborhood under its control badly, and they're getting kicked very hard in the shins for it.
I feel like we could use this somehow.
Well, I think more starting to get the news of this is gonna look into actually contacting, was this is the same group that were very, or same sort of neighborhood where they were very public about,
right?
We have issues with these are the things that the police should be doing,
right?
They're very vocal. So he would probably make contact with them, if you need a hand with anything, just make I like what you're doing. Please, here's some way to contact me if you need my hand, or if you need just want to talk and how to deal with these kind of things.
Okay.
I'm very positive towards your approach.
Yeah.
Would you say that one of the problems for the police is that they know more than they can say, but the problem is actually catching, getting the proof to actually put someone away? Is that
that's one of the
scenario?
Problems. I assume that Kevin's probably going to get a fairly detailed explanation from Nina. That's probably how you would get that question answered. But if I could be the information, I will be the disembodied information that gets transferred.
Yeah.
Which is that these networks operate so close to ordinary business actions, especially when it comes to transport, that chasing it up into the organizational level is extremely difficult. It's very easy to arrest another 19-year-old because that person is actually holding, a gram of pot. But it's very, very difficult to, you could even find, for example, at Fadi's grocery, you could find that in the freezers there were bricks of pot. But that just means that Fadi's being threatened, his family's being threatened. So the point is, if you run around just arresting people that you think of as breaking the law, you're getting absolutely nowhere. And a lot of these people are being abused by, the criminal network. So does that make sense? I mean, it's a visibility problem for one thing. They were able to identify a number of people, but those people have been scattered last week.
Or they're able to work very sort of from a distance and very discreetly and sort of disconnected from what's ever going on the street level.
If you investigated He Balloon, she would seem like a very legitimate citizen.
Yeah.
Right.